As the 2023 Minnesota Twins make a final push to the playoffs, I bring you a very sad, not-so-fun fact. The Twins have lost 18 playoff games in a row. Any game that you could put a banner up in your stadium for playing in, the Twins have lost it 18 straight times. It's an impossible thing to think of. Being good enough to make it to the dance, then slipping and falling and having your pants rip and falling face first into the punch bowl while your crush laughs at you. That's the Twins' experience in postseason baseball for almost 20 years now. So this brings about the only question left: how? How could this have happened? Well, let's take a trip down memory lane and review all 18 straight postseason game losses in the wild card round or division series to examine one of the most improbable losing streaks in sports history. The last playoff game the Twins won was Game 1 of the 2004 American League Division Series in New York at Yankee Stadium. Jock Jones hit a home run, Johan Santana pitched 7 shutout innings, John Olerud was a New York Yankee, and Joe Nathan got the save. Very on-brand early 2000s Twins baseball to pick up a 2-0 win to start the series. The next day, when the two teams ran it back, the always dependable Brad Radke took the mound for the Twins, except he wasn't too dependable this time. Despite this, the Twins worked a rally to build a lead up to 3-1, until Gary Sheffield went yard to tie, and Alex Rodriguez hit a home run and a single to swing the game to 5-3 Yankees. Amazingly, the Twins put 2 back on the board in the top of the 8th to tie it, and Torrey Hunter slugged a go-ahead home run in the top of the 12th. Joe Nathan back on the mound, a man who would wind up becoming one of the most underrated relievers in baseball history with Minnesota. He did the very difficult thing of striking out John Olerud to start the inning before managing to walk Miguel Cairo and Derek Jeter. A-Rod banged a ground rule double to score Jeter, and 2 batters later, Hideki Matsui won it with a sac fly. Yankees win, Twins lose. The also very underrated Kevin Brown took the mound for the Yankees in Game 3 back in Minnesota, and Jock Jones hit another home run this series to get the Twins an early 1-0 lead. That's nothing compared to the bludgeoning the Yankees gave Twins pitcher Carlos Silva, though. By the start of the bottom of the 9th inning, the lead balloons to 8-1 Yankees. Minnesota does start a rally in the bottom of the 9th, and with the bases loaded, no out, and the Yankees up by 6, they bring in the unstoppable force. Mariano Rivera with a 6-run lead? Forget it. He gets the next 3 guys out. Game 4 of the 2004 ALDS. Johan Santana takes the mound for the Twins to stave off elimination. The Twins actually put up a first-inning run again, and managed to scrounge more run support for Johan in the middle innings. With one of the best pitchers in baseball starting, and a 4-run cushion into the top of the 8th, the Twins have to be feeling like they're going to live another day and force a winner-take-all Game 5 at Yankee Stadium. But you know how this story goes.
There it goes, deep right center, and this game is turned.
Unable to get anything going against the Yankee bullpen, this story picks back up in the top of the 11th. A-Rod doubles as the second batter of the inning, steals third base, and scores on a wild pitch. He is beginning an absolute reign of terror in the playoffs against the Twins for his life. 6-5 Yankees. More men would wind up walking on the moon than scoring off Mariano Rivera in the postseason, so as all evidence of this video points to, the Twins lose the game. Wonder how the Yankees do in the next round against Boston. We now move forward to 2006, where the Twins have gotten considerably better. Johan evolved into the best pitcher in baseball, Joe Nathan is still locking down lineups practically every chance he gets, first baseman Justin Morneau grew into the MVP of the American League, and a young 23-year-old named Joe Mauer is now the starting full-time catcher. Mauer led the AL with a .347 batting average in 2006, and would finish his career as the best catcher I personally have ever watched, like in my entire life. I say this to illustrate that this was the Twins team most equipped to make a run. They matched up in the 2006 ALDS against the Oakland A's, a rematch of the last playoff series the Twins won 4 years earlier, when they ruined the plot of Moneyball.
Billy Beane was a good man.
Game 1 saw Johan give the Twins 8 innings of 2-run ball. Problem was, the Twins themselves only scored 1 run while he was on the mound. Frank Thomas, at 38 years old, clubbed 2 homers for the A's to help give them a 3-1 lead headed to the bottom of the 9th. Michael Kadire triples as the Twins' first batter. Technically, but look at this. 2 batters later comes home to make it a 1-run game. Rondell White is the tying run with 2 outs in the 9th.
There is Katze. And the Oakland Athletics have defeated Johan Santana and have taken the initiative in this series. They lead 1-0.
That hurts. It's now up to the incredibly named Boof Bonser to hold the A's back in Game 2. Bonser gives the Twins 6 innings of 2-run ball. Mark Kotsay managed to have an inside-the-park home run for Oakland in this game. Don't see that every day, huh? And with the Twins getting 2 runs of their own in those 6 innings, this game was really going to come down to the bullpens. The A's one was good, the Twins was not. A's win 5-2. What's one of the only names in baseball as good as Boof Bonser? The winning pitcher of this game for the A's, Kiko Calero. As the series shifted to Oakland, we saw what would wind up being Brad Radke's final game in his 12-year career, all with the Twins. His body was failing him by this point, but he pushed and pushed himself to give the Twins a chance to succeed in the postseason. There's a video on this channel already that dives into this in a lot bigger detail than what I'm going to get into, so I recommend that if you want some extra meat on the bone here. The Twins, in return for Radke being a warrior in this game and his entire career for them, the Twins would record 3 errors in the field. Oakland scored 8 runs in Game 3. Only 3 of them were earned runs. That means the Twins' defense was at fault more than the pitching for 5 of Oakland's 8 runs. Minnesota themselves only scored 3. Rondell White had 3 hits, Justin Morneau had 3 hits, including a home run, and Torrey Hunter went yard as well. None of it mattered, thanks to 3 very poorly timed errors in the field from the Twins. The best team they fielded in this entire saga went home after a 3-game sweep. The 2009 Twins won 86 of their regularly scheduled 162 games, a 1-game tiebreaker against Detroit to get into the ALDS against the 103-win Yankees, and proceeded to not win anymore. The Yankees started the Cy Young Award winner from 2 years earlier, CC Sabathia. Stringing some base runners together in the top of the 3rd inning, they put 2 runs on the board there. The Twins started rookie Brian Dunsing on the mound, and that didn't go so hot. The Yankees pitching would right the ship, and Minnesota didn't score again. The Yankee offense had a great day, coming through when they had the opportunities to, and coasted to a Game 1 win. It really is agonizing to just know at this point that the Twins were good enough to get to the playoffs, but not good enough to stay there, especially when they play the Yankees. But we're not even close to done yet. Look at the runtime remaining on this video, it gets a lot worse, both in terms of devastation and volume. Game 2 of the 2009 ALDS stayed closer for a lot longer. Neither team was able to scratch a run across through 5 innings. In the top of the 6th inning, Twins manager Ron Gardenhire had the bright idea to call pinch hitter Brendan Harris up to bat for Matt Tolbert. I call it a bright idea because...
High fly ball, pretty well hit. Damon on the run, still going back. Track wall, leaps, he can't get it. It's off the fence. A run scores.
Unfortunately, in the bottom of the frame, that constant menace known as Alex Rodriguez evened the score at 1. Things quiet down until Minnesota brews a 2-out rally in the 8th inning. Carlos Gomez works a walk. Brendan Harris gets another hit to move Gomez to 3rd base. Then Nick Punto hits a single to score the run. Unbelievably, the Yankees turn to Mariano Rivera out of the bullpen, and the inning doesn't immediately end. Denard Span picks up a huge insurance run for the Twins, something that they bank well when Twins reliever Matt Guerrier sends the Yankees down 1-2-3 in the bottom half of the inning. The still electric Joe Nathan comes out of the bullpen to try and lock down the win, up by 2.
Fly ball center field, well hit. At the track, he's done it again.
I hate this so much. A-Rod's home run would shift the Yankees' probability of winning up by 45% all on its own. But what if I told you it gets worse? The bottom of the 10th is another heartache. Joe Nathan is unable to wiggle his way out of trouble, so the Twins have to turn to Jose Mijares with the game on the line. And the Twins are saved.
Lined, caught, and the throw to third is a double play.
2009 AL MVP Joe Mauer comes up to start the top of the 11th and hits a double to left field. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I lied. They called this a foul ball. The left field umpire is like right there, and they still said this was a foul ball. This is the kind of momentum shifter in the pre-instant replay era that is just crushing. This isn't even close, like, come on. Mauer is so good that he hits a single anyway, with Jason Kubel and Michael Kadire doing the same behind him. Bases loaded, no outs, no runs. The next 3 Twins are set down without the go-ahead run coming in, which likely would have been the case if Mauer was credited with the double that he legitimately hit. The Twins, thankfully, only have to wait one more batter before being mercy killed.
Driven down the left field line. And it is gone.
This is the kind of loss that absolutely buries a team. It's definitely the worst Twins loss since Ken Griffey Jr.'s game-winning home run robbery against them in Little Big League. But to the Twins' credit, they came out staying competitive back home for Game 3. Carl Pavano gutted out 6 strong innings for them before Mauer did Mauer things and hit an RBI single for the first run of the game. That lasted for about half a second because Alex Rodriguez hit second in the top of the 7th. Jorge Posada does something similar a couple minutes later. The Twins strand a runner at second base in the bottom of the 7th, have whatever this is happen in the bottom of the 8th, give up RBI singles to Posada and Robinson Cano in the top of the 9th, and like almost the majority of AL teams from 1995 to 2011, fail to score against Mariano Rivera in the bottom of the 9th in the postseason. Game over, series over, just like that. This feels like the most chances the Twins ever had in a series, and they could not execute a single one of the tight moments when they needed to. From the outside looking in, this series had to be the biggest demoralizer, which is why I'm sure the last thing the Twins wanted to do was run it back for the 2010 ALDS. And wouldn't you know, Michael Kadire hit a 2-run bomb in Game 1 off CC. Orlando Hudson scored on a pass ball to make it 3-0, and then the Yankees busted out a 4 spot in the top of the 6th. Even after tying it back up, Mark Teixeira hit a home run that proved to be the dagger before Mariano Rivera twisted that dagger into their hearts. Where have I seen this before? Oh yeah, it feels like every time these two teams play a playoff game.
Who could have seen this coming, besides every single human being in the world with a pulse?
New stadium, same story. I don't even know what else to say or how to go in depth on it beyond just create an AI-generated template of a Twins playoff loss to the Yankees based on what we've seen here already. And again, we aren't even close to done with the Yankees. This is driving me crazy, so I can't imagine what you guys are feeling here. I'm getting numb to this, but here goes. Game 2's scoring starts with a second-inning sac fly by Danny Valencia before Alex Rodriguez the Cockroach crawls back in and does the same thing top 4. Yankees legend Lance Berkman crushes one at a target field to make it 2-1 Yankees. Orlando Hudson homers and Delman Young triples in the bottom of the 6th to get the Twins even. But if we flip the order of these two things, the Twins would be back on top. Oh well, that's baseball. By the time Mariano Rivera inevitably comes in, he has a 3-run lead to work with. In the postseason, that's like giving every other pitcher a 1,000-run lead. So he sends the Yankees back to the Bronx 1 win away from their 9th straight playoff win against the Twins. Unfortunate spoiler for things to come, still far from the last. Game 3 was boring and sad. Brian Dunson got lit up at Yankee Stadium again, and I really do feel bad for the guy having to relive the demons of the previous playoff game he pitched there. By the time Orlando Hudson comes through again to give the Twins their first run of the game with an 8th-inning single off Yankees legend Kerry Wood, they're still down 5 runs. Not taking any chances, the Yankees call Mariano Rivera for the 3rd straight game, and he sets the Twins down without posing any kind of a threat. Minnesota goes home after being disemboweled by the Yankees once again. The next 7 seasons of Twins baseball seem like mostly a depressing time. They were decent twice and terrible every other year. No strong push for a playoff spot through much of that. Even in 2017, the last year of this window that I've arbitrarily created, they traded their all-star closer Brandon Kintzler away to the Washington Nationals. But what's funny is, they still worked their way back into the postseason, even after selling their all-star closer at the deadline. We are a long way from 2010 by this point. There are only 2 players from the 2010 Twins who appeared in a game for the 2017 Twins. One of them is still Joe Mauer, just 1 season away from calling it quits on a career for himself. Point is, we're fresh blood now these days in Minnesota. The sins of the past seem to be gone as we get to go to the do-or-die 2017 AL wildcard game. 1 win, winner-take-all game to advance to the division series. Who we got?
And a lot of energy here at Yankee Stadium as the Minnesota Twins, who find themselves in the postseason taking on the Yankees.
No. Wait.
You have got to be kidding me. The leadoff batter for the Twins is Brian Dozier, and would you look at this? Oh my goodness, no way. We got something going here, baby. They're gonna beat up on the New York Yankees. Yankee starter Luis Severino is gone after just 1 out. This is the chance to end it before it even starts. Okay, 3-run top of the first inning. That's a great start. Just don't do what this team always does in October against the Yankees. No, stop it. Oh, Jesus, are you kidding me, Twins? Are you serious right now, Twins? Oh yeah, great. Byron Buxton tied the game on a ground out in the 4th inning. Too bad Gary Sanchez hits a 2-strike double. Greg Bird singles him in, and Aaron Judge demolishes a 2-run homer all before the Twins get their next 5 outs. The Twins don't have any more runs or threats of big innings in them from this point on, except when Joe Mauer flies out as the tying run at the top of the 6th inning. Yankees win this game, 8-4. SSDD, as they say. You know what's pretty neat? The 2019 Twins would set the record for most home runs ever hit by a team in a season in all of MLB history. No, really. The 2019 Twins. 9 players on the Twins had 15 or more home runs that season. Nelson Cruz, Max Kepler, Mitch Garver, Eddie Rosario, and Miguel Sano all had over 30. This was a lineup with some boppers in it. They also had Luis Ariz, if you're more of a softly hit opposite field singles kind of person. And with serviceable starting pitching and a pretty decent bullpen, the Twins would win 101 games that season. More wins than that 2006 team that I thought was the most equipped to make a run. Just enough for them to squeeze in a first-round playoff matchup with the New York Yankees. 2019 ALDS Game 1. Twins at Yankees. Yet again, 2 batters into the game, I get very strong 2017 wildcard vibes. Nelson Cruz tacks on a solo home run in the top of the 3rd to make it 2-0 Twins. And again, immediately after getting a multi-run lead,
roll to 3rd. Sano goes to 2nd for 1. Can they turn it? They can't. The ball gets away. The tying run is scored, and the go-ahead run follows.
Jorge Polanco would tie it back up with a single the next inning, but you should have learned something by now. The Yankees counterpunch like crazy against the Twins. If the Twins make a dent in a fence, the Yankees blow a cannon right through it right after. The Twins then fail to put something together for the next few innings, things get out of hand late, and the Yankees win a game that the Twins probably feel foolish for even thinking they had a shot in. It is genuinely uncanny how most of these losses follow such a strict formula. At the very minimum, these follow a strict vibe formula. Draw first blood, lose it right away, put up like another run or 2, and then get blown out of the water. That was until 2019 ALDS Game 2. There surprisingly haven't been very many games you could summarize with, oh, the Twins just got their teeth kicked in. Well, the Twins just got their teeth kicked in Game 2. I do kind of love this gesture Didi Gregorius does when he hits a grand slam in the 3rd inning to make it 7-0 Yankees. At least Luis Ariz is now hitting .429 in the series after 2 games. 2 blowouts when all was said and done. Let's go back to Minnesota.
Minnesota!
Game 3 back in Minnesota's scoring opens up with a Gleyber Torres homer for the Yankees in the second inning. Now would be a great time for the Twins to do the huge reactionary counterpunch inning for a change instead of the Yanks, considering they have the bases loaded and nobody out in the second inning. And hey, they've beaten up on Luis Severino in the playoffs before. But nope, don't even imagine a world where the Twins stand up to the Yankees in October here. Soft pop-out, strikeout, strikeout, inning over. The Yankees pick up another run in their next turn at bat. There were no real big moments in this game, no standout heroics, no huge performances. Eddie Rosario hits a solo home run to get the Twins on the board in the 8th inning. Cameron Maybin and Didi Gregorius immediately tack some insurance on the scoreboard for the Yankees, like the Yankees always do. In need of a desperation rally in the bottom of the 9th, Minnesota gets the first 2 on base against Aroldis Chapman. Max Kepler strikes out, Jorge Polanco lines out to shortstop, and Nelson Cruz strikes out. Even the 101-win offensive juggernaut team home run record-holding Minnesota Twins get pantsed by the Yankees once the schedule flips to the postseason.
You super hot fire! I'm the fire extinguisher!
If I sound comically exasperated recording this, it's because I've never seen anything like this. Truly. That is not hyperbole. 2020 was the pandemic season. The playoffs began with the first ever best 2 out of 3 wildcard series. So the Twins get a chance that's more than just the risk for one bad game like we saw in 2017. Their opponent will, thankfully, not be the New York Yankees. Instead, we get to see everyone's favorite, the Houston Astros, in their very first postseason series after their recent cheating got exposed. You ever hear about that? The Houston Astros actually represent a really good passage of time benchmark for how far along this story has progressed. When we started, the Astros were in the National League and had Roger Clemens on their team. Since the most recent Twins playoff win, the Astros have went to a World Series in the NL, changed leagues, been one of the worst teams in baseball history, built a contender, won a championship, and became the clear class of the American League. All since the Twins have won one single playoff game. In Game 1 of their 2020 wildcard series, Minnesota has a chance to get on the board early. Bases loaded, 1 out. Eddie Rosario and Miguel Sano come up to the plate. Neither can get the runner in from third base. A Nelson Cruz double in the bottom of the 3rd puts Minnesota up 1-0, which is huge because runs are not all that common in this game today. Pitching is gonna be the story of the game for most of it. Framber Valdez comes in relief in the bottom of the 5th inning, and I'm gonna spoil the whole rest of the game here before I even tell you what happens. He stays in for the rest of the game on the mound without allowing any runs. He's just phenomenal out of the bullpen today. So when the Twins stop the go-ahead run from getting a chance to be at third base after a George Springer game-tying single in the 7th, they have to feel like they have some kind of momentum. They don't. Framber is in the middle of a groove where he would get 13 consecutive Twins hitters out. There is no margin of error at all for them with how Framber's pitching. Things like, not getting the possible 3rd out of a tied game in the 9th inning on a George Springer ground ball become that much more important, meaning a bases-loaded walk and subsequent RBI single for the Astros in the top of the 9th make it 3-1, and this is absolutely catastrophic for Minnesota. And when La Tortuga, Willians Astudillo, comes up to the plate as the potential walk-off home run hitter in the bottom of the 9th, he just cannot hit into a game-ending double play. Twins lose a playoff game for the 17th time in a row. In a way, a close loss like this is a change of pace for these Twins. Mostly, they've just gotten bullied off the field by the Yankees, or one other time the A's. That being said, I'm sure they don't want to have games like Game 1 pop up again anytime soon. A game like that popped up again the very next day. Houston grabbed a 1-0 lead in the 4th inning on a Kyle Tucker single. And when Nelson Cruz stepped up for the Twins in the bottom half of the inning, he did so in a prime position to do damage for the Twins. With runners on 1st and 2nd, he lined a double into left field to bring the tying run in. But what had to be the dagger to their hearts was seeing Luis Arraez gun down at home plate to end the inning with the game still tied. It's gotta be a dagger to the entire heart of the city, knowing that this was the last run the Twins were gonna score for the entire season. Carlos Correa homered to give the Astros a 2-1 lead in the top of the 7th. Kyle Tucker had another RBI single to make it 3-1 in the 9th, and over the final 4 innings, the Twins wouldn't get another guy past first base. Byron Buxton tried, but this is the Twins in the postseason. Nothing goes their way. They lose not long after this. There have now been 18 consecutive playoff game losses for the Minnesota Twins. I raise an interesting question for all of you now. Not long before this run started, there was talk that MLB was going to contract the Twins from existence. If you don't know what the word contract means in that sentence, it would literally make the entire team vanish. The Twins would no longer exist. Would you rather have your team dissolved forever, or have them stay alive and lose 18 straight playoff games over a 16-year span? Sit with that one for a little while, huh? As Minnesota appears likely to return to the playoffs in 2023, I desperately hope this streak could finally end. This is a team that is so easy to root for with this in mind. Buxton is still here. Carlos Correa is now a Twin. Max Kepler and Jorge Polanco have transformed into 30-year-old Twins veterans by this point. The Twins and their fans just want one simple thing: postseason success. They've had their taste of the moment, but they just cannot seem to execute. I've purposely not mentioned the fact that the Twins have 2 World Series championships in Minnesota, because that no longer matters. For a stretch longer than plenty of their fans have been alive, they haven't won one playoff game. That is so sad. They've had their taste of the moment, but they just cannot seem to execute. I hope this is the end of the streak. This is a fan base and a city that knows suffering on a scale that we as a society don't console them on enough. So even if this is irrational, based on everything we've seen in this video, let this be an optimistic ending, and a proclamation of, I hope the Twins win in the postseason this year. It's about time.